Jorge, we better hurry up. I feel like my clay mask is starting to flake. Oh, hey! Hi! It's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, fully untucked, and here for your dining and dancing pleasure. And by that I mean talking about those queens in the Untucked Lounge this week. So let's just get to it. You know, it was a very heated week this week on RuPaul's Drag Race, and it didn't cool off any in the Untucked Lounge. I'm so serious. But before we get to it, can I just say, I hated Dusty's makeup this week. No offense to her, but seriously. I mean, here's Michelle Visage going around worrying about her putting dots on her face when really I think the thing that we all should be worried about where Dusty's concerned is feathers. Seriously. And of course, I hate to bring it up at all, especially after her very emotional moment in the workroom this week. Bless her. You know, I can't believe that horror story that is her misguidedly devout family. I'll never understand how religious people want to bring people to the Lord while they're screaming about fire and brimstone. You know where I want to go, where nothing's on fire. I'm just saying. Here's to Dusty for overcoming her family and being the queen we are all loving now. Well, not now. No more feathers, Dusty. Seriously. Oh, and speaking of outfits, can we just have a moment to say how great Monique Hart looked? But this is the thing. She looked a lot like RuPaul, didn't she? A couple of seasons ago in the toga themed was that Jinx's season? I think that was Jinx's season 5. Seriously. Every time they did a wide shot of the Untucked Lounge, I kept thinking, why is Ru in there? She shouldn't be in there for all this. She doesn't need to involve herself with all that drama. Oh, and speaking of drama, there was no shortage of it in the Untucked Lounge this week. The first bit of drama was all about Yahuwah's face, which was probably for the best because she wasn't there. Nobody liked her face, and they were all wondering why she was just such a pill about it. She put on that pretty face and then uglied it up with dots. It was terrible. And, of course, the reason she ended up at the bottom too, so serious. The underlying drama was all about Monique worrying that her team was going to throw her under the bus. Particularly Mayhem Miller, who she felt kind of went into her own shell, kind of what became a shrinking violet this week during the challenge. Mostly and mainly because she didn't get to be the narrator. Seriously, if everybody in the world just became a pouty prissy pants every time they didn't get their own way, well, geez, we'd be a bunch of whiners standing in the middle of an empty field with no buildings around it. I am just so serious. Of course, Monique shouldn't have worried about Mayhem because it was Cameron who threw her under the bus on the main stage. And seriously, a note to Cameron, I think she should be very, very afraid because I'm not worried about Monique making a phone call. I think she'll forego the whole thing altogether and just stick the vixen on Cameron. Seriously. Brace yourselves for continuing drama. And while we're talking about her, can I just send some extra love to Monique? Because I thought it was very good of her to take that moment off the top to call out the Vixen and Aquaria, not by name, she's not stupid, and asking that all the queens just learn to work well with each other. I am so serious. If Monique keeps kicking butt and taking names the way she's been doing, she may become my new spirit animal, I'm just saying. Of course, the Vixen took that bit of news with her usual aplomb, eh? I mean, right or wrong, the Vixen did tell everybody right when she entered the room that if you even look like you're gonna come for her, she will come at you full tilt boogie. So it's not like she sucker punched Aquaria. Are there better ways to communicate with other queens? Yes, there are. Will the Vixen choose any of them? No, she won't. So the lesson here is don't come at the Vixen. Just give her a wide berth and avert your eyes. I'm just saying. And that's when the Untucked Lounge became the let's tell Aquaria what's wrong with her nook. All the New York queens took a turn, and I just need to say, seriously, if Dusty Ray Bottoms is calling you a bitch girl. Personally, I just can't believe that Aquaria crumbled like that and started crying. Of course, that's when the drama really hit the fan. First off, I would just like to say I had the same reaction that some of the queens did when the vixen started talking about race. Because the first thing I thought of was like, I never thought of her as being a mean black bitch. I just thought she was being a mean bitch. Thank God for the voice of reason Monet Exchange, who pointed out that the snide white girl came for the black firecracker first, and the firecracker popped because that's what it do. Seriously, I hadn't thought about it in that way, and it's probably because I'm white. It's a very easy trap to fall into. So I was really happy to see that moment from Monet, because it actually made me understand the vixen a little better. I certainly was just thinking she was being a bitch with Aquaria, but Aquaria was being a bitch with her first, and quite frankly, I think Aquaria suffers from that resting bitch face anyway. Sarah. I also thought that it was cute that there was an impromptu pop-up intervention for the vixen. First, with Monique saying that when she comes at people the way she does all the time, it overshadows her blessings, which is a lovely way to say that. And the vixen does have blessings. I think when she isn't being a pill, i.e. Winning last week twice, she's lovely. But when she's being poked, she's gonna react. And this was the other thing. I like that Ms. Cracker requested that maybe the vixen could get further with people if she wasn't just such a bitch out of the gate. Don't come at them out of 10 all the time. But the vixen said, no, I can't. She didn't say I can't because I don't want it. She said I can't because that's not how I am. I'm not wired that way. I can't do it. And God bless Monet for saying that she admired that in the vixen. Because I have to agree with Monet. I flip-flop too. Sometimes I'm all up at a 10 and then I dial it back to a 2 because I regret being a bitch. But then I realize I wasn't really a bitch. I'm just standing up for myself, and it goes back up to 10. And then everybody's exhausted. I'm exhausted now. Seriously. So before the vixen got dialed up to 11, the rest of the queens entered the Untucked Lounge, and that's when we returned to the drama of who, if anyone, threw Monique under the bus. I, felt bad for Mayhem being in the center of that storm, only because she seemed to be the one that had the most trouble with the challenge and ended up in the bottom too. Cameron, who actually did throw Monique under the bus, and I'll say it again, can't wait for that phone call, was not trouble during the challenge. I mean, she may have strong-armed herself into the narrator position, but she blew it. It was her runway that saved her, that's for sure. I'm so serious. But can I also just say, as angry and worried as Monique was, she still seemed to hold it together and still seemed to be able to hear what others' explanations were. And I would just like to point out to the vixen, that's how you come for people, especially when there's cameras rolling. Serious. So the girls returned to the main stage and Yahuwah sashayed away. And can I just say, I'm so glad that I was fully untucked for this week, because that's a lot of drama. And we're only in week 3. I may need medical attention to make it to the end of season 10. How about you? Well, we'll just have to tune in to RuPaul's Drag Race episode 4 next week. And then come on back and see me for my review and Wilma Untucked. Because I am. Seriously, don't forget to like this video, because you know you did. And don't forget to subscribe, because everyone needs a hobby. And until next week, miss me. Mwah. Seriously, Jorge. Next time we do tea, I think we should just forget the tea altogether. And how about Long Island iced tea? I'd like a Long Island. In honor of the New York Queens, I'll have Long Island iced tea.